I'm sorry. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare. Hare Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. So today's Sunday, we'll be reciting this verse for the last time, because on Mondays we memorize a new verse and we recite the same verse throughout the week. Hopefully by the end of the week you'll become familiar with the verse, and if possible you'll know it by heart. That's the goal actually. If you can know the verse by heart by Sunday, then that's a success. So now we'll recite that verse, chapter 11, text 33, and then tomorrow we'll be learning the next memorization verse. So we'll just go in order. I don't think anyone needs to. If you need to go first, you can just raise your hand and you can go first. Otherwise, we'll just go in alphabetical order. 33. So, Isha. Actually, 1 minute. Let me put it to the default view. Okay. Not yet. It still has the purple. Yeah. Go ahead.
तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहतः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Krishna Ashish.
तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Madhava.
तस्मात् त्वम् उच्चस्य यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहतः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in this fight. Be but an instrument in the fight.
Yes. Rasapriya.
तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहतः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Okay, Priyanka Mataji is not able to recite. So, Roya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Tasmatvam utishta yasulabhashva jitva satrun bhangshvarajyam samradam mayevate nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhava savya sachin. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'll also recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 33. Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham mayaivaite nihatah purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, because today is also I thought I'll just read. It's a short note on the disappearance days of two acharyas. So today is the disappearance day of Sri Bhugarbha Goswami, and it is also the disappearance day of Sri Kashishwar Pandit. So I will quickly read a little bit about them. It's not an elaborate information. As there is not much mention of Sri Lokanath Goswami in Vaishnava literatures, similarly there is not much mention either of Sri Bhugarbha Goswami, who was his very close friend. So Bhugarbha Goswami was a close friend of Lokanath Goswami. So there is not much information about Bhugarbha Goswami either, who was a very close friend of Lokanath Goswami. Following Mahaprabhu's order, they both came to live at Vrajadham. So originally they were with Mahaprabhu in Navadvip, but on Mahaprabhu's order they came to live in Vrajadham. Their hearts were inseparable. Whose hearts? Bhugarbha Goswami and uh, Lokanath Goswami. Sri Bhugarbha Goswami was the disciple of Sri Gadadhar Pandit of the Panchatattva. He, in turn, had a number of disciples, namely Sri Chaitanya Das, who was the pujari of Sri Govindadev. Govindadev, the deity of Sri Rupa Goswami. So Sri Chaitanya Das was the pujari of Govindadev, and this Chaitanya Das is the disciple of Bhugarbha Goswami. And another disciple of Bhugarbha Goswami is Sri Mukundananda Chakravarti. Then another one is Premi Krishna Das. And in this way, he had a number of disciples, Bhugarbha Goswami. In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that Sri Bhugarbha Das and Sri Bhagavad Das came to Vrindavan and took up residence there. This is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 12, text 81. In the Gauraganodesha Deepika, Sri Bhugarbha Goswami's identity as Prema Manjari in Krishna Leela has been given. His disappearance is on the 14th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Kartik. So today is the Chaturdasi, that means the 14th day of the bright fortnight. So the disappearance of Bhugarbha Goswami is on the 14th day of the bright fortnight of Kartik. His samadhi is near the samadhi of Sri Rupa Goswami within the courtyard of Sri Radha Damodar temple. So if you visit Vrindavan, you go to Radha Damodar temple, you have so many samadhis of all our acharyas. So there you also find the samadhi of Bhugarbha Goswami. It is near the samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. So you'll find Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami's samadhis, and there you'll also find Bhugarbha Goswami's. Srila Bhugarbha Goswami and Srila Lokanath Goswami were one, only their bodies were different. This is said in Bhakti Ratnakar. So that's all the information we have about Srila Bhugarbha Goswami. Now let's read about Sri Kashishwar Pandit. It's also the disappearance day of Sri Kashishwar Pandit. Sri Kashishwar Pandit Goswami had a temple near Srirampur at Chatara. Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan later on in his life. His disciple was Sri Govinda Gosai, the pujari of Sri Govindadev. Again, right? The pujari of Govindadev, a different pujari, Govinda Gosai. He is a disciple of Kashishwar Pandit. And Kashishwar Pandit had a temple near Srirampur. But later in his life, Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan. When Srila Rupa Goswami discovered Sri Govinda Dev's Sri Vigraha at Gomati Tila, he immediately sent word to Mahaprabhu at Puri. Mahaprabhu in turn requested Sri Kashishwar Pandit to go to Vrindavan. Kashishwar, however, expressed that to have to give up your association will cause my heart to split into two. Therefore, please consider how I can honor your request without giving up my life. So Mahaprabhu, so what happened was, well, you know how actually originally the principal deities of Vrindavan, Sri Govinda Dev, then Sri Madan Mohan, Gopinath, like that, they were all installed by the great grandson of Lord Krishna, Vajranabh. After Lord Krishna's disappearance, Lord Krishna's great grandson Vajranabh installed the principal deities of Vrindavan. And but afterwards, you know, the Mughals had conquered India, and of them, the last one, Aurangzeb, he was actually very envious towards the Hindus, right? So he was, and the Vaishnavas also. So he was demolishing all the temples, and he was, you know, destroying the deities. So, out of fear of desecration of the deities, the pujaris, when they got news that the Muslim soldiers were coming or the soldiers of Aurangzeb were coming, they would hide the deities. So, they would send them to some other place where they wouldn't be discovered. So, actually, the deities were sent to Jaipur, where there was a king, a Vaishnava king, who could give proper protection, and also who, because of being a Vaishnava, he could worship the Lord nicely. So, therefore, the deities, even though they were installed by Vajranabh, they were actually hidden. At the time of Srila Rupa Goswami, or at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he sent Rup Sanatan Goswamis to Vrindavan, the pastime places were all unknown now, right? So Mahaprabhu had specifically sent Rup Sanatan Goswamis to Vrindavan to excavate the places of pastimes of Radha Krishna, and also to erect temples, uh, and to establish a high deity worship standard, and also to write literatures, Vaishnav literatures about bhakti, and about the pastimes of the Lord, like that, based on the scriptures, based on the Vedas and the Puranas, like that. So when Rupa Goswami went, he didn't have any deities, but everything's were unfolding. So he actually discovered the Srila Govinda Dev deity. There was one place where every day one cow would go and release milk, and the same spot every day the cow would come. Then when Rupa Goswami went and had that place dug, excavated, they found the Govinda Dev deity. So that's what is being said here, that when Srila Rupa Goswami discovered Sri Govinda Dev's Sri Vigraha at Gomati Tila, he immediately sent word to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, Rupa Goswami was in Vrindavan. So he sent a message to Mahaprabhu that he needs, that first of all he sent a message that Govinda Dev has come. So if Govinda Dev has come now, the Lord has to be worshipped in all glory, in all opulence. They need a temple, and in order to maintain a standard of deity worship, they need paraphernalia, and more than anything, they need a priest to worship the deity throughout the day. So when Rupa Goswami sent a message to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu requested Kashishwar Pandit, whose disappearance day we are observing today. So Kashishwar Pandit was requested by Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan. Kashishwar, but he was so, Kashishwar Pandit, he first came to Mahaprabhu in Puri along with Govinda. Govinda and Kashishwar Pandit were sent by Ishwarpuri. Ishwarpuri is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Govinda was also the disciple. They were disciples of Ishwarpuri. So then when Ishwarapuri was leaving, was going back to Godhead, uh, he was very pleased with the service of Govinda. So he instructed him to go and join Mahaprabhu as and serve him as a servant. So then they came, Kashishwar Pandit and Govinda came to Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu said, I cannot accept you as my servant because you are my um, uh, god brothers. How can I take service from my god brothers? Right? You take from disciples, but god brothers, how I can take? So he was not accepting. Then Govinda said, but this is the order of our spiritual master. If you don't accept, then this would be disobedience to the spiritual master's order. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he lost the argument. So he said, yes, okay, because it is the order of the spiritual master, I must honor it. That's how he accepted. So Govinda became the personal servant of Mahaprabhu, and we read in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita episodes about Govinda, pastimes of the Lord with Govinda. And Kashishwar Pandit was the bodyguard of Mahaprabhu. So whenever Mahaprabhu would go to take darshan of Jagannath in Jagannath temple, there would be so many people. It's a big crowd, and especially when Mahaprabhu is there, they want to come close to Mahaprabhu, right? Touch his lotus feet, maybe, right? So Kashishwar Pandit would make sure that Mahaprabhu had his space, and when Mahaprabhu would take darshan, right, he would be watching. This was Kashishwar Pandit's service. He was a guard, security guard, bodyguard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when Rupa Goswami sent this message to Mahaprabhu about Govinda Dev's appearance, right, excavation, then Mahaprabhu asked Kashishwar Pandit, I want you to go to Vrindavan and help Rupa Goswami, assist him in worshipping Govinda Dev. Then Kashishwar Pandit said, but if I leave your association, I am so attached to you. If I leave your association, I will die. I won't be able to sustain my life. But at the same time, you're giving me an order to go. So please tell me a way how I can fulfill your order also, and at the same time, not give up my life. It's really not in my power to sustain my life in your absence. But I don't want to disobey you. You give me a way how I can fulfill your order and at the same time I won't die. So let's see what Mahaprabhu said. Mahaprabhu could understand the heart of Kashishwar, and therefore he gave him a self-manifested deity of himself. So the Lord himself appeared as a deity, self-manifested. It's not carved by anyone, right? Self-manifest. The Lord just manifested a deity of himself, Gauranga Mahaprabhu's deity. Mahaprabhu sat down along with this deity, this Vigraha, and accepted prasadam. So Mahaprabhu would honor prasadam and the deity would also honor. The Mahaprabhu sat next to the deity and honored prasadam. At which Kashishwar's faith was kindled. Yes, this is not different from the Lord. Right? This deity is, my Gaurang Mahaprabhu is now in this deity form. He is not different. Mahaprabhu intimated to him with this deity and established him on the right side of Sri Govinda Dev. So this Gauranga Mahaprabhu was also installed or established, because self-manifest means they're already installed, self-manifest. So this deity, they established this deity to the right of Sri Govinda Dev. Then he began to serve them with great love. So in this way, Kashishwar Pandit went to Vrindavan and he was serving Govinda Dev. And Kashishwar Pandit's disciple, Sri Govinda Gosai, he became the next pujari of Srila Govinda Dev. So this is about Kashishwar Pandit and Srila Kashishwar Pandit and Srila Bhugarbha Goswami, whose disappearance days we are observing today. So now we'll begin with our Srimad Bhagavatam reading. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10. The transcendental activities of Lord Ramchandra. So we saw Lord Ramchandra has returned to Ayodhya with Sita Devi, with Lakshman, then meeting with Bharat Maharaj, right? Lord Bharat at Nandigram with a royal reception, and then Lord Ramchandra entered the city of Ayodhya. He saw his mothers, Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, Sumitra, offered obeisances to them. The mothers were so joyous after meeting the Lord, their son, after such a long separation. For 14 years, they were waiting, and they took him in their arms, and they were weeping tears of joy that he was finally back. Then also we saw how the Lord reciprocated, right, with the superiors, with the subordinates. They also offered everyone, all the citizens, they offered obeisances. And then also we saw how the citizens, when they saw Lord Ramchandra return, they were so ecstatic, so joyous. They removed their upper cloth and they started, waving it in the air like that, expressing their joy on the return of Lord Ramchandra. What else did we see? Yeah, so Bharat also, we saw how Lord Bharat, he had carried the shoes of Lord Ramchandra personally on his head and then offered them to Lord Ramchandra, and then he, stood aside. He offered Dandavat obeisances and he stood aside. Lord Ramchandra was very pleased with the humility of Bharat. And Bharat wanted Lord Ramchandra to accept the throne. So, being very pleased with Bharat's humility and service, and therefore wanting to reciprocate with Bharat's love, Lord Ramchandra accepted. So then immediately Lord Ramchandra's coronation had to be performed. So his head was shaved and Abhishek was performed with various ingredients, but also water was collected from the 4 seas, and Vashishta Muni was present, all the Brahmanas were present, and the installation, coronation ceremony was performed of Lord Ramchandra. Then Lord Ramchandra became the king or the emperor, and how nicely he was taking care of the citizens, we saw that also. He became exactly like a father of all the citizens. He made sure that all the citizens were observing, carrying out their duties according to their varna and ashram. So there we saw how Srila Prabhupada explained the importance, how when there is a good government, what is the sign of a good government, right? Good government will make sure that the citizens are carrying out their duties properly according to varna and ashram. Of course, if the government is, secular, or they don't care about any religion, if it is godless, how can that be a good government? Good government means the government or the head of state must be exactly like a father, taking care of all the citizens. And when we say taking care of citizens, it's not just material uh, protection. That is there certainly, but along with material protection, they should be making progress spiritually. That is also the responsibility. So these citizens of Lord Ramchandra, under Lord Ramchandra's care, they were doing everything so nicely, and they were so attached to the Supreme Lord. They were attached to Lord Ramchandra, just like children who look up to their father. They looked at Lord Ramchandra like a father. As a result, in their self same bodies, They all became residents of Vaikuntha. While living in Ayodhya on this earth, in those same bodies, they became residents of Vaikuntha. Like that. So I don't exactly remember where we stopped yesterday. Let's see. I think we start with 50. Maybe we have to read the purport, I think. That's why I left at that. Right? I think so. Let me see. In my bookmarks, I have 50. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat, Lord Ramchandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashram, accepted him as their father. Yeah, we saw this already. Yeah, we read this. Yeah, I said that we will discuss it further. There were more points in the purport. So, okay. So, one point that Srila Prabhupada brought out is that in the modern day, people like Ramaraja. Ramaraja means not that, Lord Ram's kingdom, the way he ruled, they want to rule like that. No, no, no. They want the results of Ramaraja. In Ramarajyam, there is, no fear, no thief, no crime, right? People could leave their doors open, no fear, like that. They want a very peaceful society. So everyone is interested in Ramarajya, but they're not interested in Rama. They don't want Rama. They want only Ramarajya, so that they can live peacefully, they can enjoy life. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the problem with the modern society is it has become godless. And uh, if you're godless, you cannot have good qualities. And without good qualities, you cannot have a peaceful life. It's not possible. And if you're not peaceful, you cannot be happy. So therefore, there is unrest. There is no satisfaction because of going away from God. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna. How can you have good qualities in a person who is abhakta? Abhakta means who is a non-devotee, who is not a devotee of Hari. How can there be any good qualities in him? And the other way, you can say, if one is a devotee of the Supreme Lord, if one is actually a devotee of the Supreme Lord, then all the good qualities of the demigods, they reside in such a devotee. Like that. So that's one point about how everyone is interested in Ramarajya, but they are not interested in Rama. Unfortunately, they have no obedience to Lord Rama. Right? Whatever the Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, they are not interested in following those instructions. So such an aspiration is never going to be fulfilled. You will never get Ramaraja without being obedient to the injunctions of the Lord. Yeah. And another thing is the leader. The leader or the head of state, his relation should be with the citizens, it should be just like a father and children. That means he should care for the citizens like a father cares for the children. And the children also should have, the citizens should have confidence in the leader the way children feel completely protected and safe when the child is holding the hand of the father. The child is completely fearless, he feels safe. My father is with me, I am protected. So the citizens of Lord Ramchandra had that confidence. So a good government means the citizens will have confidence in their leader, and the leader also cares for the citizens like a father. Lord Ramchandra ruled like that. And so the relationship, that's the second point. The relationship between citizens and government should be exactly like that between father and son. Then, if there's a good relationship, naturally, what is the consequence? You'll be properly trained. See, it all depends on the love, right? The trust. In a relationship, when there is trust, then you will oblige. So, between parents and children, if there is trust, there is love, then the children will be willing to be trained by the father. But if there is no trust, if there is no love, then they will rebel, they will revolt, and they wouldn't want to listen to what the parent is saying. So that relationship has to be established first. When that relationship is there, then you can be trained. And sons who are trained, they are such an asset to the family. They're such an asset. They can take the responsibility of the father, carry it forward. So, when the sons in a family are well trained, Srila Prabhupada is saying, they are obedient to father and mother. And when father is well qualified, he takes good care of children. So, both ways. If the father himself had been trained in the past, then he will take good care of the children. And similarly, if there is a good relationship between parents and children, father and son, then the son will agree to be trained by the father. And if he's trained properly, then he's obedient. He's obedient to the father and mother. And then he will become a good father next, right? And he will take care of the children. They will do their duties properly according to Shastra. Of course, the guiding principle is the Shastra. So Prabhupada also mentions about the Varna and Ashram system. If they are good citizens, how you can get good citizens? Good citizens means they will follow their dharma according to Varna Ashram. Varna Ashram is nothing but the duties that are given by the Supreme Lord. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is directly given by the Supreme Lord. So what is the dharma of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? It's given by the Lord. So Varnashrama system is very important for good citizens. So then the king will ensure that the citizens are carrying out their duties according to Varnashram system, which Lord Ramchandra did. So ultimately, if you want Rama Rajya, then you should become a Raja, a king like Lord Ramchandra. And what does the king do? He will make sure that the citizens are living their lives according to Varna and Ashrama. By that, they will be well qualified, well trained, and you have a good population. Everyone is satisfied and peaceful. There's no crime and so on and so forth. And they're actually making spiritual progress also. So this is the key to a good government. You should have a good leader who is trained properly, and then he also trains the citizens. Yeah. Entire Varnashram scheme is intended to enable people to become Vaishnavas. So now, when you have a Varnashram society, what is the success? Simply being peaceful and happy in this life. Is that the goal of life? No, that's not. That's not the ultimate goal. By following Varnashrama, certainly you will become peaceful and happy and content. But the ultimate goal of Varnashram system is to come to the point of pure devotional service. That's the goal. And the king has to make sure that the citizens are moving in that direction. The center of Varnashram system is worship of Lord Vishnu, as we discussed yesterday. Then in the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, when people worship Lord Vishnu, they become Vaishnavas. Yes. So people should be trained to become Vaishnavas through the system of Varna and Ashram. And that was exactly what happened during the reign of Lord Ramchandra. They were all following Varnashrama principles because Lord Ramchandra ensured that everyone followed them. Now, how do you ensure that the citizens follow this? That's another thing, right? How can you introduce this? This is a very important point. How can you introduce this? Now we understand this is the right thing to do. If we introduce this, everyone will become happy. How to achieve this goal? Can you just enforce, make laws, and will that make people follow? Out of fear, will they follow? No, they won't follow. People tried it, right? People like Hitler tried, and of course they were not trying to do the varnashram system, but nevertheless forcing the citizens to comply with what the leader wants, uh, by by threatening them or keeping them under fear. That doesn't work. Then what is the way? The way is to change their consciousness, educate them. The key is to educate people. First of all, they are being misled now by wrong education, by leaders, by teachers who have no clue of the reality of our identity as a spirit soul, of our destination, of our constitutional position, of how we can be happy. They have no clue. And they come up with various mental concoctions and plans how we can become happy. But in their plans, they're only further going away from the Lord's design, how we can actually, how we should be living in this world. Varnashram system is a way of life that's given to us by the Supreme Lord. But without that education, and what to speak of without having examples, so people don't accept it. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is preaching movement. You have to educate people, and of course set example. That's even more important, right? Simply talking is not sufficient. Simply talking is not sufficient. They need to see living examples of those who are talking. Are they actually living by that? That will have the greatest effect. So in the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is saying, simply enforcing laws and ordinances cannot make the citizens obedient and lawful. That is impossible. So all over the world, there are so many countries. In another purport, Srila Prabhupada says, everyone wants peace. So we have even created the United Nations organization. But since the creation of or establishment of the United Nations organization, the number of flags have only increased. What is a sign of unity? Unity means there is one flag, everyone is under one flag. But when there is disunity, you don't agree with the government and you want to be separated, and you'll have your own, rules and your own government, which you think will make you happy, will keep you happy. Therefore, there is separation. Earlier, there is one country, now it becomes two countries, so two different flags. And in this way, every year, the number of flags is increasing. This only shows how there is no unity, there is no happiness, there is no satisfaction. And after they become separated, do they actually become happy? They hope to become happy, but unfortunately it does not last. Now some superior power attacks them and they are not sufficient, powerful enough to defend. So the only thing that can bring everyone under one flag is Krishna consciousness. Nobody else can do that. So that's is also being said here in this purport, that we have seen this, right? Uh, Throughout the entire world, there are so many states, legislative assemblies, parliaments, but still the citizens are rogues and thieves, right? You didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve. You wanted Ram Raja, and for that you have made so many laws and you're enforcing them. But there is no change in the character of the people. They're becoming even more degraded. They are becoming liars, cheaters, rogues, and thieves. So, if you want good citizenship, it cannot be achieved by enforcing some laws. You have to actually bring about a change in their consciousness. And for that, they need proper training, right? And Srila Prabhupada is saying the way you have schools and colleges to train doctors, lawyers, military men, similarly you should have schools and colleges to train brahmanas, Kshatriyas. What is this? Again, Varnashram system. So first of all, before we introduce the Varnashram system, there has to be training, there has to be education. So you should have colleges, Varnashram colleges, where you're trained how to be trained as a Brahmana, what are the duties of a Brahmana. According to your nature, it has to be identified by the teacher. First, so before you open the Varnashram college, you should have the teachers. The teachers have to be trained how to recognize and identify the students. And this is all scientific, it is all given in the scriptures. It's not something that you have to come up with. You have to, what do you say, you know, create something. You have to simply follow the guidelines that are given in the scriptures. Then there can be peace in the society. Of course, the goal is not just Varnashram system, right? To make everyone Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and that's the end. No, the goal is actually Krishna consciousness. But because we are not able to take that long jump from our conditioned state, material, from our attachment to materialistic way of life, we are not able to take that long jump uh, to pure devotional service. Then to bridge the two, Varnashram system is very essential. Actually, it's very essential. Varnashram system is for the entire society. It's not just for one group of people or one country, or maybe, it's not like it's not a hobby, right? Sometimes people take it as a hobby, or it's not like, it's for the whole society. With proper training, then you can have actually Ramaraja. Because the Varnashram system is neglected, people are generally thieves and rogues. In the system of democracy, such thieves and rogues naturally collect money from other thieves and rogues, and thus there is chaos in every government and no one is happy. You go to any country, any government, nobody is happy. But here the example of good government is to be found in the reign of Lord Ramchandra. If people follow this example, there will be good government. Yes, Mataji, Roya Mataji.
Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Is what we are doing here now, this form of learning, could it be considered like a small part of what you are discussing there, in which you're training? Do you consider this as sort of a training or a teaching of citizens?
Yes,
To kind of start?
exactly.
Is
I
this
was
a
going to say
piece
this is
of
a
that?
start. Yes.
Okay.
But when I say Varnashrama college, it's actually a proper training. So Varnashrama college teaches you about, uh, especially about, for example, Varnas, right? How do you earn your livelihood? What type of work are you going to do? And what are the resources, like that? Practically, how to live your life independently without depending on. Now we are made completely dependent on the society. Even though we are practicing Krishna consciousness, morning and evening we come together, we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we chant japa, but during the day we go and work outside, right? Maybe in some store or in some company or in some, as a doctor, whatever professions we are doing, we are dependent. We are dependent on the non-devotee organizations. They are controlling and they have their rules and regulations which you have to follow. So we are not completely free to practice pure devotional service because we are so dependent. Varnashram system teaches you how to become independent. Srila Prabhupada also said simple living and high thinking. So simplifying our lifestyle. It's very difficult to actually simplify your lifestyle when you're depending on non-devotee system. right? Whether for your job or when you go to school or colleges, the education that they're teaching. Devotees have children, and then they have to send them to public schools, and then they have to, and when you are once you are enrolled in the school, you have to learn what they're teaching you, whether you agree with it or not. Otherwise you won't pass the exams, and you won't, and then if you don't do well in school, then you don't get a good job, and then you cannot live peacefully. So like this, it's a vicious cycle. So when I'm talking of Varnashram College actually, first of all, identifies according to your nature what is your Varna, whether you're Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. And within that also, again, there will be more, what's your specific area of interest. And they will train you properly so that you can survive on your own. On your own means with other devotees. Devotees will have their own communities, right? And with their propensities, they, like, let's say if there's a devotee community, within that community there will be Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. They're all devotees, initiated devotees, wanting to be pure devotees, but for their livelihood they are not depending on the outside world. One devotee, is good in farming, another devotee is good in weaving cloth, someone else makes pots, and somebody else does the administrative work that is also required, protecting devotee communities. We see how we are attacked by sometimes people from other faiths, from politics. Politicians, they may attack devotees. We have seen, it's still going on. But if you have your own kshatriyas in your devotee community, they can protect. So they'll train, recognizing your nature. Kshatriyas will be trained. They will be trained in using arms, weapons, how to give protection, like that. So what we are doing here is uh, bringing an awareness. So yes, as you said, this is a start. But actual training, that will happen in a proper Varnashram college. Now you may ask, where are these colleges? We don't have as of now. Well, there is one in Mayapur that His Holiness Bhaktiraghav Maharaj, is just constructing, building the building, and then there will be a training for them. But otherwise, even though we see in Srila Prabhupada's talks and purports, there's a lot of talk about Varnashram system, Varnashram colleges specifically. That area hasn't been worked on so much by the devotees. So then now the next question is Varnashram college, how do we start? With where we are now, the way everyone is. So now the way I'm talking to you, and you hear some things, and then interested devotees will come together, and we will start doing research now, right? This is called Varnashrama research team before you even start. So there is a whole program how to proceed. There's a department called Daiva Varnashram Ministry, and the goal or the function of that ministry is to give the temples enough material how to proceed from there. So like we have in every temple, ISKCON temple will have a congregation. So like we meet on Sundays for the Sunday feast program, devotees will also come together and they will have meetings. And they will, each devotee will take according to his or her interest, will take one department, one area, and will do research from current day also, just about agriculture, because we have to work with what we have. There are people who are not devotees who are farming, right? They have moved to that lifestyle, organic farming, or they have these, like you have the merry meat farms, in Philadelphia, where you get milk, fresh cow milk, like that. So you can do some research about if I were to start a farm, what would I need today? What are the procedures that we have to follow? Like that. So each devotee will make research, will do research and get the information together for that particular area. And then gradually, step by step, it's a project for several years, a few years at least. And then eventually, when the devotees are ready with all the information, they are ready to start, then they will buy land, right? These families, they will buy land to live in a devotee community which is away from the city. And then that also is done in a step by step, not that you just give up your jobs that you're doing immediately, but to start with a few devotees who are living on the farm, and other devotees who are working in the city will support them. When you start farming, it may not be sufficient for completely. You may be able to, that farming may sustain you 20% in the beginning. So the remaining will be supported by the devotees who are in the cities, with the idea that eventually they can also come. And like this, step by step, eventually everyone should move to the farms. This is the whole plan. I'm just giving you, the little that I grasped, but there is a whole plan, and there are leaders who can guide properly. It is already happening, especially in India and also in Hungary. His Holiness Shivaram Maharaj, he has a completely self-sufficient, uh, community, self-sufficient community. They have their own, everything. They're not dependent on anything from outside. Also in Indonesia, they have a community like this. And in India also they have, in South India and in Gujarat, there are farm communities, ISKCON farm communities, mm, trying to be self-sufficient and more. This is a start. This is a start.
We think, is it easy in Kali Yuga, Mataji?
Oh, well, easy or not easy, that's not the point. The point is, this is the only thing that is going to work.
That's true. But it's very, very long way to go, because
We should
people,
do, yes. So we do our part. If you are not able to do anything else, not able to change anyone else's consciousness, at least you can follow it yourself to the extent that within your house for now. And then that will, the nature of spiritual life is, it's never stagnant. When you start doing, it will expand, so therefore there's no question. Think about Srila Prabhupada. He is our greatest inspiration and role model. He had no help, and he came to a country where he had no friends and nobody knew any, and they were completely deeply you know embedded in the mode of ignorance and passion. And Srila Prabhupada came, and how he did that, it is still Kali Yuga, that confidence in Krishna and that surrender to Krishna. So just like in Lord Ramchandra's pastime, the little spider is doing its bit, right? Bringing a small grain of sand and putting there to build that bridge. So someone may say, what will your one grain of sand do? Like Hanumanji said, right? So what will that one grain of sand do? But still, from the Lord's perspective, he appreciated that very much. So the important thing is, what am I doing for this mission? How am I contributing to this mission? Of course, you cannot expect from me big things like, things that Srila Prabhupada did, or his, big stalwart disciples are doing or have done. But according to my capacity, let me make some effort in that direction to show the Lord that I'm also wanting to, I'm also trying to assist him. That's all. And the Lord is satisfied with that. The Lord is satisfied with that. The spiritual master is satisfied with that.
That's true.
Yes, it's a big, lofty, project, and it is overwhelming if you see how we will do it. But start small, you know. That will also count. That's the point. Even little what one person is doing will also count. You may not be there to see the result, but that will also add towards the final result. So we'll do our part like that. Thank you. Neelambari Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Can we consider the Govardhan Eco Village as this this project of this level?
Yes. Govardhan Eco Village has different, what do you say, departments. But yes, certainly you can consider Govardhan Eco Village, uh, working in the same direction. They have their own. Uh, they're actually educating the local farmers, and then they're showing it as a role model to the world, inviting people from all over the world to come and see what's going on there, and encouraging, because of the propaganda in the past decades about industrialization, from villages people are moving to the cities, uh, looking for jobs that will pay more, selling their land, giving up the occupations which for generations were being followed in the villages, and they're all moving towards cities. So in Govardhan Eco Village, they're actually supporting the local farmers, right? Not that you first of all make them into, like first initiate them into devotees, and then not like that. They are helping them to do basically varnashram system, right? So if you are a weaver, the temple supports them to do that, so that they don't have to go to the cities and do some mechanical, or you know some other work which is not related to, which is not uh, harmful to nature. So yes, that is in that direction, certainly. But they have, it's I don't have a complete picture, but of course they have. One more point is, those people, they actually come to Krishna consciousness gradually. They all are becoming initiated devotees, the local farmers. They're taking to Krishna consciousness. So that is the thing. As Srila Prabhupada said, the goal of Varnashram system is to bring them to pure devotional service. But it's happening in step-by-step way. On a larger scale, it doesn't mean that everyone has to, first go through this and then only you can practice pure devotional service. No, not necessary. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you take full shelter of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then you can transcend the modes of material nature. Varnashram system is for those who are still in the modes of material nature. If you completely take shelter of the holy name, that means Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, Anukulyana Krishnanushilanam. Then there is no need. But even though there is no need for you, simply to set example for the mass of people, you will still do that. To set example so that by following you, they will make progress in Krishna consciousness. So that is why we will see, our leaders, like, all our leaders, right? So they even though they may not need our gurus, they don't need to follow the varnashram system, but still they preach about that, and they themselves follow this lifestyle, simple living and high thinking lifestyle, so that the people in general who are not even devotees, they can actually come to devotional life. So yeah, your question was about Govardhan Eco Village. Yes, I think they are also uh,
Moving to that
educating,
direction.
moving in that direction. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Okay, so actually we didn't even start. Let's read Bhagavatam. This was yesterday's verse, but there were so many points here. I didn't cover the purport yesterday. We were running out of time. So that's why I went over it today. Let's read the verse 51. Whose
This
turn is
also
it?
government should help.
Yes, Mataji.
Government also should need financial help. It's very everything related to financial things.
Yeah,
Financially, if we're not good, we cannot do anything.
yeah.
It's very hard, very hard. So government has to help us. So
Yes.
which government is that kind of government? Tell me.
That's why education. So that's why you see talking to leaders and changing, bringing a change, a revolution actually in their consciousness.
It's a
Then
big thing.
you educate one leader, then so many people will be benefited. So that is also an important task.
That's very, very important.
So let's read the shloka. Whose turn is it today? I keep forgetting every day. Okay, I'll just read the verse. Meanwhile, if somebody remembers, tell me. Tretayam vartamanayam kalah krita samo bhavat rame rajani dharmagye sarvabhuta sukhavahe. Anyone remembers?
Madhava Mataji.
Madhava. Okay, thank you. Madhava, your turn.
Lord Ramchandra became king during Treta Yuga. Because of good government, the age was like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy.
Lord Ramchandra. So we are talking about Lord Ramchandra's rule, how he was taking care of the citizens like a father, how the citizens were also looking up to him like children look up to the father. So Lord Ramchandra became king. Which time period was that? Treta Yuga. But because of his good government, the age was like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. So you all know there are 4 yugas: Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali yugas. So Satya Yuga is the best yuga. People are naturally, spiritually advanced in Satya Yuga. And their lifespan is also very long, 100,000 years. Then after Satya Yuga comes Treta Yuga. So moving to the next yuga means there is a degradation in the consciousness. Those who are advanced, after they give up their bodies, they go back to Godhead or they get liberated, something. But those who are remaining, right, they come to Treta Yuga. That means there is a degradation. Compared to Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga is a degraded level of consciousness. So, and in Treta Yuga, the life is only for 10,000 years. Lifespan, man would live for 10,000 years. That means life is also reduced. Height is also reduced of people, right? But because Lord Ramchandra was the king, even in Treta Yuga, the citizens were all, it appeared like it was Satya Yuga. It was like the spiritual world, isn't it? So that's why it is said, even though it was Treta Yuga, it became like Satya Yuga. It's like within Treta Yuga, there's a pocket of Satya Yuga, like that. So Lord Ramchandra became the king during Treta Yuga. But because of his good government, the age was like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. Purport. So, Rasapriya.
Among the 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, the Kali Yuga is the worst. But if the process of karma is introduced, even in this age of Kali, the situation of Satya Yuga can be invoked.
Sorry for interruption. So, Vindhyavali Mataji, Here is the answer. Yes, it is very difficult. But Srila Prabhupada is not hopeless. Srila Prabhupada is saying, even in this age of Kali, the situation of Satyuga can be invoked. How? How? If the process of Varnashram system is introduced. See? If the process of Varnashram system is introduced, even in this age of Kali, the situation of Satyuga can be invoked. Okay, continue, Rasabri.
The Hare Krishna movement or Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. Kalarduksanadharajan astirya ekam mahan guna kirtanar eva krishnasya dasanga param rajan. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Bhagavad Gita 12.3. Bhagavatam 12.3.3. If people take to the Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna Hare Ram, they will certainly be free from the contamination of Kali Yuga, and the people of this age will be happy, as people were in Satyuga, the golden age. Anyone, anywhere, can easily take to the Hare Krishna movement. One need only chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, observe the rules and regulations, and stay free from the contamination of sinful life. Even if one is sinful and cannot give up sinful life immediately, if he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with devotion and faith, he will certainly be freed from all sinful activities. This is the blessing of Lord Ramchandra, was appeared and Lord Gaurasundar.
This is the blessing of Lord Ramchandra, who has appeared in this age of Kali as Lord Gaurasundar. So what is the gift of Lord Gaurasundar? The Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If one can take to chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra very seriously, then you can get Ram Raja even in Kali Yuga. But the point is, what did Srila Prabhupada say in the purport? You can get Ram Raja in Kali Yuga if you follow the Varnashram system. Why? If you can simply chant Hare Krishna, then why you need Varnashram system? You may say. Because by chanting Hare Krishna movement, chanting the Hare Krishna and following the rules and regulations, you can, let me just see exactly what Srila Prabhupada said. Yeah, if people take to this Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna, they will become free from the contamination of Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga, Treta Yuga, I said, is degraded compared to Satya Yuga. Then what to speak of Kali Yuga? That's the last Yuga, right? This is like we are at the bottom of the barrel, right? So all the people who failed to go back to Godhead, right? They are there in Kali Yuga. So very, very sinful. It's filled, Kali Yuga is filled with all bad qualities. Kaler dosha nidhi, like it's a treasury of dosha or faults. In Kali Yuga, everyone is filled with faults. But there is one good quality. Asti hi eko mahan guna. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha param rajit. Simply by doing kirtan of Lord Krishna, then he can become freed from the effects of Kali Yuga, from all the bad qualities of Kali Yuga, he can become free. Then why not simply, tell everyone to chant Hare Krishna? Of course, that is said. We tell that. Srila Prabhupada gave that, isn't it? Chant at least 16 rounds every day, attentively, at least. That's the start. At least 16 rounds every day. You make a commitment and follow the 4 regulative principles. Give up sinful life. This is a start. And if by starting this, if you hold on to this strictly, and you are being obedient to the orders of the Acharya, then you will certainly make progress, and you will become free from the influence of the faults of Kali Yuga. So how do you know that you are progressing? You will give up all your attachments to this world, and you will be getting more and more taste for chanting Hare Krishna. You will not be satisfied with, okay, I've done my 16 rounds, I've done my quota, now let me do some shopping, or let me watch some movies, let me play some games. You will not think like that. If you're actually making progress, you'll be developing a taste for Krishna Katha. You'll be developing a taste for chanting the Lord's names. You will want to use all your time as much as possible in rendering devotional service to Krishna and in helping in this preaching movement, in this Sankirtan. That will be your consciousness. If that is happening, then very good. That at every moment you're thinking about how can I serve Krishna, how can I assist in this Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's no question of getting bored ever, right? As soon as you get some time, you'll say, let me read Bhagavad Gita, or let me hear, right, a lecture, or let me chant Hare Krishna. There's no question of ever getting bored, or you'll have your beads always, just chant Hare Krishna. That will be your state. But is that happening? Now we should ask ourselves individually, is this my consciousness now? Or even the 16 rounds which I have promised to chant, my mind is all over the place, isn't it? And I have to, sometimes in the night, at the end of the day, I have to finish my rounds because I have promised my spiritual master, and you're falling asleep and you're chanting some rounds somehow. And gradually, even you're not even able to complete your 16 rounds. Some days you do, some days you don't. Now, how to rectify this problem? Why this is happening? This is happening because of the influence of Kali Yuga. It's filled with faults. If you are able to take to Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting sincerely, that is sufficient. But we are not able to take. Why? So then you need help. What is that help? To minimize, to reduce the effects of Kali Yuga or of the modes of passion and ignorance. If you follow the Varna, that's a longer process. Taking directly to surrendering to Krishna and taking directly to Krishna consciousness, meaning simply chanting Hare Krishna, full faith, right? That is a shortcut. But people take the shortcut and then they give up, right? Because they didn't get full faith in this. So initially everything looks good and you take to it, and then after some time you start looking at all the material enjoyment, and you would want to go back there and you give up. Why it happens? Because I didn't get enough faith in this process. So the safe way is, you certainly develop your faith. You hear, but at the same time, you work on your lifestyle, right? Yes, chanting will help me, but I still don't have, I cannot chant straight for 8 hours. Can you chant? The requirement is 24 hours. Either you chant or you render some devotional service, but 24 hours. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam. This is continuous devotional service. That is the aspiration, or at least that should be our aspiration, and we should be working towards that. So that's why if there is Varnashram system, it will, in this purport, what is Srila Prabhupada saying? Kali, age of Kali is full of all faults, but if people can take to this Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, they will certainly be freed from the contamination of Kali Yuga, and the people of this age will be happy as the people were in Satya Yuga. Anyone can take to Krishna consciousness, but after they take to Krishna consciousness, they need support. This is what happens in temples also, right? You'll see brahmacharis, but then they need that type of nourishment, association, training. If you don't get that training, everything around you is in the modes of passion and ignorance. You'll see ladies not, like dressed in a, and what will happen to the brahmacharis, right? Like half naked, they come into the temples, they see them, and then they'll get all bewildered. And then the mode of passion takes over. And then they cannot maintain their brahmacharya anymore, celibacy anymore. So they need to either get married, or then that's even better if they get married. But if they don't get married, then they'll have some illicit relationships and they fall down from their position, isn't it? So that's the problem. That's the problem. So, but yeah, anyone anywhere can easily take to this Hare Krishna movement. So what I was saying was, after one takes to this Hare Krishna movement, you need support for your ongoing advancement in Krishna consciousness. Whether you're a brahmachari in the temple or you're a grihastha working outside, you need the association of other devotees. Is it sufficient going to the temple once a week on Sunday for 1 hour, 2 hours? Is that sufficient? Of course, it's like an oasis in the desert, no doubt. But you can certainly use more association. What to speak of if all the people that you associate with all day long is only devotees of Krishna? The people that you work for are devotees of Krishna. How nice it would be, surrounded by those who are actually living by that. So that's the idea of Varnashram system. Daiva Varnashram system means you are devotees, you are practicing, but now we want to progress further. Although not that, for want of proper association and proper training, we fall away. So this is the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement or the Hare Krishna movement, right? One need only chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, observe the rules and regulations, and stay free from contamination of sinful life. So for you to stay free from the contamination of sinful life, you need strong association of devotees. So you can get, especially here for grihasthas, brahmacharis can live in the temple. What about families? How can you stay away? Yes, it is said that within your home, you follow a standard of worship, and as a family, the whole family practices together. Yes, that's true. That's true. That protects you. But still, you have to, for your livelihood, to feed the family, to, maintain, pay you need a shelter. Where does all that come? You have to go and work outside. Although Srila Prabhupada said, your work also, if you're constantly focused, if you're Krishna conscious, then you will not be affected by the influences outside. But the problem is, to maintain that consciousness, you need strong association. You need to hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita regularly every day. And that should be in your consciousness, where even when you go outside into the world, it's not said that it's impossible. Even when you're in the world outside, it is possible. But individually, you ask yourself, can you say that, yes, because I'm practicing nicely in the family at home, therefore I'm unaffected by the world outside? If that is so, that means you have very nice, strong sadhana and association, and you're able to deal with that. So the idea of Varnashram system is this: get that association so that you're progressing in Krishna consciousness, not yet getting distracted. The material world is only a distraction. It's going to distract you away from Krishna consciousness. We are bombarded again and again. You go on the internet and so many things are thrown at you, even though you don't want, and then you just get caught up and you're pulled here and there. Like that. And then what to speak of raising children, right? Can we just raise children in the house, not sending them outside for anything? Is it possible all the time? At some point, they have to go out. Then what? And what to speak of marriages? Where will you get your children married if there's no community of devotees? Did you think about that? Do they also have to go and look for, maybe they fall in love with someone, that person may or may not be a devotee. We are, generation, second, third generations now after Srila Prabhupada. So all that we have seen, our previous generation devotees have gone through all these problems. Now we should learn from their failures and we should not repeat those mistakes. We need each other. We need a community. It's not just about going to the temple once a week and on the festivals and then, we have the feast and do some kirtan and come home. What about the next generation? Think about it. So, we again, as Mataji said, Vindhyavali Mataji said, it's a very big project. It's not one person's job. One person cannot cause the change. The Lord can do it. The real thing, the fact is like the verse that we are memorizing now. Nimitta matram bhava savya sachi. You are but an instrument in this fight, Krishna said. You can be but an instrument. They have all been put to death by my arrangement, Krishna said. So Krishna can change things. But we need to do our part. We need to be an instrument in Krishna's hand. What needs to be done is already said. Now we have to do our part. Be an instrument in Krishna's hand. He will do it. Who are we to do? Again, that spider is making an endeavor just to show the Lord that I want to be an instrument in your hand. That's all we are trying to do. Repeat the messages that are spoken by our acharyas, by the Lord himself. Repeat that message. That's all we can do. And by that endeavor, the result, we are not the ones who are getting, creating the results. The results are coming from Krishna. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. Right? You have a right to do your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. You cannot claim to be the cause of the results. The results are given by the Lord. We simply have to do our part. So that's the endeavor here. We are just doing whatever we can in that direction. And everyone has to contribute something. Trying to be an instrument in the Lord's hand. So, yeah. So if you are simply able to follow the rules and regulations, chant Hare Krishna and stay free from the contamination of sinful life, then you can take to Krishna consciousness. Even if one is sinful in the beginning, especially, right? Even if you are sinful in the beginning, if you hold on to the process given, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, eat only prasadam, don't eat food which is not offered to the Lord, follow the 4 regulative principles. By this, you will make progress, right? Yeah, he will certainly be freed from sinful activities and his life will be successful. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This Sri Krishna Sankirtan movement is Param Vijayate, supremely victorious. It will give you the ultimate victory, ultimate success. This is the blessing of Mahaprabhu. And here, Lord Ramchandra, we are reading about Lord Ramchandra, how nicely under his rule, all the citizens, in their same bodies, they became residents of Vaikuntha. That same Lord Ramchandra has blessed us with this Sankirtan movement in the form of Lord Gaur Sundar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can stop Srimad Bhagavatam reading here and what should I do? Should I read or stop? Because it's over. We went over time.
You can read, Mataji.
I can read. Everyone is okay. If anyone has any objection, please raise your hand and I can end here. If you don't raise your hand, I will consider that you're okay. Okay, so we'll just quickly read Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita. We are continuing with Srimad Bhagavad Gita's introduction. We'll just read one paragraph. Yes. The Lord suggests that we attain the spiritual world in the following manner. Bhagavad Gita 15:5. Nirmana jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangyair gacchantya mudha padam avyayam tat. That padam avyayam. Padam means that position. Avyayam means inexhaustible or indestructible. That means that eternal kingdom can be reached by one who is nirmana moha. What does this mean? We are after designations. Someone wants to become sir, someone wants to become lord, someone wants to become the president or a rich man or a king or something else. As long as we are attached to these designations, we are attached to the body, because designations belong to the body, but we are not these bodies. And realizing this is the first stage in spiritual realization. We are associated with the three modes of material nature. We are associated, but we must become detached through devotional service to the Lord. If we are not attached to devotional service to the Lord, then we cannot become detached from the modes of material nature. Designations and attachments are due to our lust and desire, our wanting to lord it over the material nature. As long as we do not give up this propensity of lording it over material nature, there is no possibility of returning to the kingdom of the Supreme, the Sanatan Dham. That eternal kingdom which is never destroyed can be approached by one who is not bewildered by the attractions of false material enjoyments, one who is situated in the service of the Supreme Lord. Right? Yeah. One who is not bewildered by material attractions, he can approach that Supreme Eternal Kingdom. Who is that? He is that person who is situated in the service of the Supreme Lord. Only when you are situated in the service of the Supreme Lord will you be unbewildered by material attractions. One so situated can easily approach the Supreme abode. So, yeah, so the next part we'll read tomorrow in Bhagavad Gita. But about this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada, in Bhagavad Gita, we read, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. How can you give up your attractions to the lower modes, attraction to this material world? When you get a higher taste, right? Sometimes children are doing some mischief, then what do? One thing is you can say, stop, don't do. What's your experience? Do they say okay and they stop doing it? But if you give them a better option, right? You give them something which is better than what they are doing now, which gives them, give them a positive engagement. Give them a positive engagement. So similarly, you're getting some pleasure from material things now, right? So you're enjoying. Now you give them spiritual enjoyment. People go to dance in clubs and pubs, right? Ball dance, whatever. So come and dance in Kirtan and see which pleasure is greater. Once one gets a taste for this, the other pleasure seems to be insignificant. Same with foods. If you are accustomed to going and eating foods in the restaurants, come and honor Krishna Prasadam at the temple, and then you compare and see. You'll be addicted to this. You'll be addicted to this. So that's the way of giving up the base nature or lower attachments. You have to get a higher taste. Then the lower things will fall away. What is that higher taste? That is devotional service to Krishna. So if you want to connect, if you want somebody to give up their bad habits, then somehow or other you have to connect that person to devotional service, because there is a taste in devotional service which is far superior to any other material taste, whether it is food or whether it is dancing or you know anything. So uh, so that's what is said here in this paragraph. Who is eligible to go to that eternal kingdom? One who has given up these attachments, material attachments. Material attachments means there's sense gratification, and also there is that propensity to lord it over, to be the controller, to be the proprietor of material nature. I am the master of this property, or I am the CEO, I am the manager. Controlling, that's also the material disease. Somebody who's free from all designations, right? I'm an American, I'm an Indian, I'm a woman, right? Or I'm a man. None of these are our designations. These designations are of the body, and we are not this body. But how to come out of this? That's the problem. The way to come out, there's only one solution: devotional service. And when you say, what is devotional service? A devotional service, in short, chant Hare Krishna. Develop your attraction for chanting Hare Krishna. All problems will be solved. Okay. So I'll read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita also. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. Continuation. So okay, I was just wondering why we are reading this. January 11th, 1966. So I think these are the various incidents and events that happen, in chronological order, right? In December, you get an idea of what was the condition of the world at that time, right? So December 2nd, we saw, this is the news headlines, that so many, young people, they are, the number of people addicted to LSD, that's increasing. They're getting admitted, and there's protests against this, like that. The Vietnam War is happening, like that. So then, January 11th, 1966, Prime Minister, this is in India, Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri died of a heart attack while visiting Russia. The Prime Minister had been a personal acquaintance of Srila Prabhupada's in India and an admirer of his Srimad Bhagavatam translation. He had been scheduled to visit America, and Prabhupada had expected to obtain a personal sanction from him for the release of funds from India. His untimely death was a great upset in Srila Prabhupada's plans to purchase the building at 143 West, 72nd Street. The realtors had shown him the building, and he had already mentally designed the interior for deity worship and distribution of prasadam. The money was to come from India, and Prime Minister Shastri was to give personal sanction for release of the funds. But suddenly, that was all changed. January 14th, Prabhupada decided to write to the owner of the building, Mr. A.M. Hartman. He explained how his plans had been upset, and he posed a new plan. Now the Prime Minister, Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri, is suddenly dead, and I am greatly perplexed. As there is now great difficulty for getting money from India, I am requesting you to allow me to use the place for the International Institution for God Consciousness, at least for some time. Just allow me to use it for some time. The house is lying vacant for so many days without any use. And I learn it that you are paying the taxes, insurance, and other charges for the house, although you have no income from there. If you, however, allow this place for this public institution, you shall at least save the taxes and other charges which you are paying now for nothing. If I can start the institution immediately, certainly I shall be able to get sympathy locally. And in that case, I may not be required to get money from India, right? People will come. They will be benefiting from the center, from the temple, and they would want to contribute because they want that temple to run. So I won't need money from India. I'm also requesting that Your Honor become one of the directors of this public institution because you will give a place to start the institution, right? Just allow me to use this building for some time. That's what Srila Prabhupada was asking. A.M. Hartman wasn't interested. On the same day he wrote, Mr. Hartman, Prabhupada received, the same day that Prabhupada wrote a letter to Mr. Hartman, Prabhupada received a letter from Sir Padampat Singhania, the director of the very large JK organization in India. Prabhupada had written Sir Padampat ji for financial support, and his reply gave him hope. Not only was the Singhania family fabulously wealthy, but its members were devotees of Lord Krishna. So we'll read that tomorrow, what happened, right? So he didn't get any help here, but looks like there's some hope from the Singhania family in India. We'll read that tomorrow. Thank you all so much, devotees. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. I will see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.